History repeats itself. Avocado and mango exports from Mexico to the USA have been temporarily suspended. The way this video works is I'm going to give you a quick summary of what has happened, and then I'm going to explain to you the multi-billion-dollar industry that is avocados. Then I'm going to show you on what you can expect next. And if you like avocados or mangoes, then you're going to want to pay attention for the next few minutes. So what has happened is that avocado exports from Michoacan have been suspended. And the reason for this is because according to local reports, 2 inspectors are currently being held against their will. Right? So if you can recall, this happened roughly a similar situation happened 2 years ago in February 2022. This was around the time of the Super Bowl. It was a little bit different because an inspector was threatened through message, email, however he received it, they were threatened. And what ended up happening is that shipments were being suspended. Then a week later, 6-7 days later, the suspension was then lifted. All right, now I'm going to explain to you the whole $18 billion industry that is avocados. All right, if you look here, these are the top 10 countries that produce avocados: Mexico, Peru, Dominican Republic, and Colombia. I do have some news about Colombia, which I'm going to share in a few minutes. Now, these are the top 10 countries that export avocados compared to the top 10 countries that import. All you need to get from this graph is, as you can see, Mexico and the USA are the top dogs in this $18 billion industry. All right, now the relationship between the USA and Mexico. In 2023, 3,086 million pounds of avocados were exported from Mexico. All right, and the USA is responsible for 80% of Mexico's exports, which means they received 2.47 billion pounds of avocados in 2023. Now, the USA has actually imported a total of 2.78 billion pounds of avocados, which means 89% of the avocados the USA imports comes from Mexico. It's then followed by 6% from Peru, 4% from the Dominican Republic, and Colombia. I'm going to talk about Colombia in a second. Right? So on average, the USA imports 47 million pounds per week. Okay, I'm going to restate this. 2.47 billion pounds of avocados comes from Mexico. That means 47 million pounds per week from Mexico is currently being imported. Now the catch is Michoacan is responsible for 73% of Mexico's avocado production. All right, 89% of the avocados in the USA come from Mexico. 73% of the production of avocados is from Michoacan. Michoacan shipments have been stopped. This means that 12.7 million pounds out of the 47 million pounds, 12.7 are going to continue the shipment. Now, these are not exact numbers. I could not find which areas in Mexico ship to the States. Michoacan we could get 50% of Michoacan's and then get stuff from other places in Mexico. I don't know. I couldn't find those exact numbers. So these are just rough numbers. So over the past 2 years, June and July have been on the lower end of the numbers of avocados harvested as shown on this graph, with May being the highest. Now this is over the past 2 years. It was a little different 3 years ago. So to quickly restate, biggest shipment of avocados to the USA comes from Michoacan, but we are currently in the lower number of avocados being harvested. So that's a little benefit of timing there. All right, I mentioned Colombia, and here's the interesting thing about Colombia. Colombia last year in 2023 shipped 32 million pounds of avocados into the USA. Their plan, according to the Colombian Avocado Board, is planning on raising that 32 million pounds to 50 million pounds. That's the plan. That's according to the Colombian Avocado Board. I don't know if they have a Colombian banana board or Colombian orange board. I don't know. I didn't look into that, but that's according to Colombia. All right. So here's what you can expect. So 2 years ago when this happened, it was a slightly different situation. There was threatening emails or threatening messages. A week later, the ban was lifted. But now There's two hostages. You can call them hostages. They're being held against their will, according to local reports at least. So allegedly they're being held against their will. That may take longer. Now, this isn't the first rodeo, so maybe it could be fixed within the next few days, because this happened on Monday. This happened a few days ago, less than a week ago. So maybe the problem can be fixed by the end of this week, or it can be fixed in 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. We don't know. So if you want to stay up to date on this, if you feel like this is important to you, if you like avocados, if you care about the business between the USA and Mexico when it comes to the avocados, if you care about the workers' livelihood in Mexico, if you care about your own luxury livelihood of avocados, I like my guacamole. So if you do, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Follow along. I'm going to keep you up to date in this. If any changes happen, you'll be the first to know.